to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, soon to be joined here by Rob in just a moment here as we talk about the post-game coverage here for the Giants-Ravens matchup here, guys. Let's be very frank about this. This was, to put it nicely, for those who might complain about language, it was a poop show. It's what it was, point blank. This was an absolute horrendous travesty of a game, which was exactly what we expected. You could say this is potentially worse than we expected, but let's be honest here, guys. Is anybody actually upset we lost here? You know, it's like, or is anybody actually sad that we didn't win this game? I don't think anybody went into expecting a win. I don't think anybody was shocked we got blown out. And let's be frank, a lot of y'all probably were hoping that we'd go ahead and lose this game. So as Deb says, one step closer to a good draft pick. I mean, listen, I hate to say it, guys. I have been anti-tanking my entire life. And I think this is the first year that I'm like, screw it, we're so close. Let's just lose them all. I think I'm actually finally on pro tank. And I never thought I'd say that. Anthony says, not at all. Just sad that it took Boyle to get us a passing touchdown. Yeah, it really is sad that Boyle actually looked a lot more competent than most of the guys we've had behind quarterback this year. You know, so let's give you guys the rundown, obviously, on the game itself here real quick. But we are going to do the post-game show a little different than we usually do. So we're going to go ahead and give you not just the rundown of everything going on in the game itself, but we're also going to go over the latest Giants news and rumors as well, guys. Because let's be honest, there's only so much we can talk about this game. We sucked. We suck. We will continue to suck the rest of the year. I mean, let's be honest. I could do a post-game show of that in 30 seconds and finish this episode. But that's not what we do here. So that's not what I'm going to do. So, in the end, Giants lose 35-14. Absolute blowout. They're losing literally by 21 points, 3 touchdowns. Lamar Jackson was just an absolute goddamn beast in the game. 21 of 25, 290 yards, 5 touchdowns with no interceptions. Eventually taken out of the game for Josh Johnson, who I can't believe is still in the NFL even. Did throw a pass, but you guys may remember him. He was a former Giant. Hell, he's a former basically every single team in the NFL, along with a couple other leagues as well. So Derrick Henry, surprisingly enough, didn't crush us with the rushing there. 14 carries, 67 yards. It's a 4.8 yards per carry average. So not that we did good against him. It's just he didn't get necessarily enough carries to go ahead and just blow us out of the water. Didn't need to. It's almost like an off week for him there. Lamar Jackson, 6 carries for 65 yards in the day. Rasheen Ali, who was put in towards the end of the game there, he was a rookie getting his first taste of the NFL. There, 8 carries, 32 yards, and Justice Hill, 2 for 7. Rashad Bateman is a guy who absolutely just crushed us here. I mean, obviously, Lamar Jackson threw him very nice balls to get there, but 3 catches, but 2 of those are touchdowns. 80 yards in the day. Justice Hill, 5 catches for 61 yards and a touchdown. Zay Flowers, 6 catches, 53 yards. Nelson Aguilar, 1 for 26. Mark Andrews, 2 for 24, including a touchdown that literally made him the all-time touchdown leader for, I should say, receiving a rushing touchdown leader for the Baltimore Ravens there. Obviously, quarterbacks have more touchdowns just by nature of the position there. Devontae Walker, 1 catch for 21 yards, which was a touchdown. Isaiah Likely, 2 catches, 17 yards, and Tylan Wallace, 1 for 8. So, yeah, I mean, let's be honest. The offense did whatever they wanted on the passing side. But, again, let's be honest and say that there's basically scrubs in at corner and safety. I mean, Dane Belton, they mentioned at one point in the commentary there, hey, well, he's been in a lot of big plays, making some good plays. He did. But he also was some very bad plays. The second touchdown to Bateman, for example, was on him. There's a couple of plays in general. This is what Dane Belton does. And this is why Dave Belton, point blank, is not going to be a guy that you could put in as a starter. He makes some very good plays, and he gives up some very big plays. That's what he is. On the defensive side of the ball, nothing too crazy, guys. Their defense isn't that great. Our offense was that bad. Kyle Hamilton, the safety, had four tackles. Raquan Smith had 3. Nobody else had more than 2 in the day. Sack-wise there, you had David Ajobo with a sack. Malik Harrison, Kyle Van Noy also with a sack as well. Adarius Washington had his interception at the end of the game there for you. So, yeah, like I said, nothing too crazy on their side, but, our side just horrible. Tommy DeVito, 10 of 13 for 68 yards. As Derek says, DeVito was having a decent before the concussion. I want to give Boyle his props for at least looking better than a Locke has. I'll say this, and I get it. Like, Tommy DeVito's a fan favorite, but guys, I'm sorry, you got 10 completions for 68 yards. I can't get behind that as a good day. So he would have had 20 completions at that point for 136 yards, if my math is correct, if he was into the whole game. Because Boyle, keep in mind, was in for one play in the first half, and that's it. I can't give DeVito a good game on that. He played what you kind of expect, and I think we've kind of come to see now what DeVito is. And that's one thing that I wanted to see him start for that reason. DeVito is a borderline NFL quarterback. It's what he is, and that's why I wanted the experience for him this year so we can see exactly what he is, so we know, what he is, and we know we can plan forward for that. I don't mind keeping him on the roster. My hope was next year we can get him as a backup, and it'd be a cheap backup. I think it's pretty obvious that's not going to be the case. He'll be a third, quarterback like he's been for us at that point if he stays in this roster. Go get a veteran quarterback, go draft a quarterback, and have practically a brand new quarterback room there. As Anthony says, I gave up on the passing Paisano. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's just not been good, that's for sure. He hasn't really had any great moments. I think we kind of bought into the hype a little last year because, quite frankly, we needed something to buy into. As we said, Tim Boyle came in second half. Technically, the first half, he had one play, but it was nothing, just a kneel down. But 12 of 24, 123 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. So, only 50% completion percentage, not the best. But, again, 12 completions for 123 yards, better than 10 for 68. So, Derek says, we know that DeVito is a better backup than Locke. I can't sit there and say that, to be honest with you, man. I thought he was the potential to be. But can you honestly sit there and tell me you see a huge difference between Locke starts and DeVito starts? I don't see a difference. As Deb says, not good at math here. So does this mean we're out of the playoff picture? Sadly, yes. Sadly, yes, we are, Deb. I'm sorry to break that to you. Tyrone Tracy on the day, not a good game for him. Probably one of his worst since he's taken over as the starter. 10 carries, 31 yards, just a 3.1 yard per carry average. Devin Singletary, 8 carries for 25 yards, the same yard per carry average. And then the quarterbacks combined for 2 carries, -1 yards. On the receiving side, the only guy who you can sit there and say had a really good game, at least numbers-wise, on offense is Malik Neighbors, 10 catches, 82 yards, and 1 touchdown. Obviously, I'll let you guys do the yard per catch math, not too difficult with 10 catches there. Wan'Dale Robinson, 4 catches, 38 yards. Daniel Bellinger, 3 for 35. Devin Singletary, 3 for 16. 1 for 16 for Slayton, and 1 for 4 for Tyrone Tracy Jr. On the defensive side there, Micah McFadden was all over the place with 7 tackles and a sack. Dane Belton also had 6 tackles and a sack as well. We also got a sack for Brian Burns, which was the only tackle of the game there. 5 more tackles there for Greg Stroman. Obviously not good when your corners or one of your top tacklers there. Ark Reed, 4 tackles as well. So, guys, like I said, not a good game. Not a good game at all. So, let's see, Deb. Actually, 1 second. As Dorothy sits on as well, says, great game. I need to review the tape, but we gave lots of effort. Only lost by 1 score of 21 points. Exactly. If there was only that 21-point play, we would have had a chance to recover. But sadly enough, the NFL just doesn't do it. Deb says, from this one game, I take Boyle over both Locke and DeVito. Honestly, considering there was a concussion in this game for DeVito, considering Locke was in a boot, and I don't know what his status is going to be, I wouldn't be shocked at all if the Giants pick up a quarterback and go ahead and start Boyle next week, which could be really, a shame, because you could have your fourth, quarterback basically as your starter, and some guy off the streets is your backup. That's where you'd be at. But this is what happens to bad team guys. I'm hoping otherwise, because quite frankly, I'm going to the game next week in Atlanta. So I'm hoping for a better show than the Tim Boyle show. But, again, DeVito, Locke, not that much better either at that point there. As there he is, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Rob. There he is.
To me, Rob.
So yeah, guys, like I said, nothing much right here in this game. I don't think we can sit there and say anything really positive about it, except Malik Neighbors had a good game.
Yeah, nice touchdown catch.
Good game. I mean, those are the two people I can give, for giving out game balls here, so to speak. That's the only two people I can give the game balls to.
Yeah, it's pretty pitiful.
It's poop, and more poop. So. Deb says, actually, I'm hoping Boyle isn't that good, if you get my drift. Oh, I definitely get your drift. It's time. It is definitely time for Team Tank, that's for sure there. So hopefully that's what happens. Let's see. Dorothy says, it would be more entertaining if the Giants start Locke's boot next week. The boot probably has better anticipation than these scrubs. That is possible. Though the boot doesn't have a hand, so they can't throw the football technically. It would really be a football at that point.
Yeah. And the football.
Yeah. All right, guys. Like I said, not much to talk about in the game, really. We got blown out. We got destroyed. Half of our roster's on the injured team. It's the rest of them are about to be there. So, again, we're not going to sit there and harp on a game that we didn't expect to win. Quite frankly, necessarily didn't even want to win.
No.
The bigger.
I was just hoping not to get blown out as much as we did. I was hoping to keep it within that 16.5 points, the spread, but nope,
Yeah.
21 it was.
The big thing right now is that I was keeping on as the games are ending here is I was hoping that the Jets would lose to the Jaguars, but they seem to be pulling in a last-minute win here. They're up 32-25 with 30 seconds left and the ball in hand. So that's not good for us as far as draft position. But we already have a game on the Jags, so I'm not as worried about that as I am what happens with the Titans, who
Remember,
they're going to lose to the Bengals. Looks like they're down right now 37-21. So we're going to stay even with them. Let's see. And the Raiders play tonight, I believe, right?
Correct. Carolina.
Yeah, they play tomorrow night, the Falcons. That's right. Monday Night Football, they play the Falcons. So as of right now, nothing's changed in the standings as far as the tankathon battle here. So, we'll have to see what happens there. But as of right now, the number one pick is technically ours.
We did get the number one draft pick.
We'll see what happens. We've won.
Yeah.
That's our first win in months. All right, guys.
You're talking about 9 straight, tying the Giants' record. I don't know if you talked about that part.
Oh, I didn't think about that. I'm going to be there for a record-setting game next week for the Giants to lose to the Falcons.
They're going to win that game. They're
not going to win that game. Don't you start. Tank is going. I almost want to
take it.
I almost want to get a costume of a tank and go to the game that way. That'd be kind of fun.
That'd be really funny.
Tank cosplay. Let's put a bunch of 2 giant goofball stickers on the thing to hopefully get some. But yeah, anybody who does see me at the game next week, anybody in the Atlanta area, maybe there, feel free to pop up and say hi. I'll be pretty obvious since y'all see me if you're watching the video portion there. But if not, I'm the really, 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 really tall guy.
Yeah, he's taller than most of the players on the team.
Yeah, a sad thing is I really am. It's like if only I was coordinated and athletic, I'd be making money here. But yeah, I'll be wearing literally a 2 giant goofballs hat, so it'll be pretty obvious who I am there. So. All right, let's get into Giants news here, guys. Because again, like I said, I'm not going to sit here and harp on a game that none of us, quite frankly, cared if we won. But you know what? One thing is everybody wants to talk about right now. Another plane over MetLife, guys. Another plane. Like we started off, the New York, New Jersey area with drone talk left and right. Now we're talking about planes as well. No word on who's flying the plane. If this is some kind of military plane. No.
I mean, my arm's tired. I was flying all around today.
Oh gosh. Oh no. But so another plane did circle the stadium before the game. This time it said, "Mr. Mara, we won't stop until you fire everyone." Yeah, that's pretty damning there. Like, and it's embarrassing for Mara. It really is. Let's be very frank about that. This is something his dad dealt with in the 70s. We haven't seen this since then. It's kind of an old school way of getting back. I'm very curious to see if this is like an elder statesman of the fandom, basically, that's been around for the 70s and knows of the history of that and, who did it and all. Like, it'd be really cool if it was like the son of the person who hired the first planes in the 70s. Like, that'd be pretty chill.
Keeping the legacy alive.
Tradition, like, it's up to us to stop the Giants from embarrassing themselves. Like, I mean, obviously, let's be honest. Somebody with money or a pilot's license and a plane, which obviously, if you have a plane, you have money as well. Let's be honest. But it's that's not cheap. That is not cheap, guys. That is true fandom. I would absolutely love to find out who it is with this plane. And I will just say point blank, there is an open invite for whoever either is flying the plane or is paying for the plane or any combination thereof to come onto the show and talk about it. I will say this, though. If you are thinking of doing it when you don't actually do that, we are going to look for proof that you're the person who bought the plane or flew the plane. So just fair warning on that, okay? But yeah, feel free to hit us up on any of the social media if you are involved in that, because I'd love for you guys to get the chance to go ahead and tell your story as well, because the nation's curious. And it's funny because it really is a national story that this is going on here at MetLife Stadium at this point. This is not just Giants news.
That is the second New Jersey aerial phenomenon that we need to talk about in New Jersey these days. Between the drones and that plane.
Yeah. Can we get maybe like a series of drones to go ahead and spell out in the sky, "Fire Dable and Shane" over the stadium?
Yeah, right. We're flying those drones.
I'm just saying, drones around, do something positive. So God damn it. And of course, last week during the Saints game beforehand, it said the same thing of playing, but it said, "Mr. Mara, enough. Please fix this dumpster fire." And I feel like that was nicer because he said please.
Yeah.
Now it's like a threat. We won't stop till you fire everybody.
Everyone.
Please do this. Please do the right thing. They've just given up on his hope and humanity at that point. You know what I mean? Like, it's just gotten bad. And in 2 weeks, the Giants, of course, had their home finale against the Colts, which
maybe could win.
Yeah, that's the last game that I would say we possibly could win, assuming that the Eagles don't rest every single person they have on their roster. But the scariest thing is, I still think the Colts are much better than us, and I still think the Eagles' backups might beat us because the Giants' starters are basically third stringers as it is at this point.
I was about to say, did you not watch it in this game where the Ravens beat us up?
Oh, it's bad. It's bad. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens. But again, I'm curious. I love to hear the whole story of who's doing this and the thought process behind it, because again, they're spending money. This is not medium Coke money they're spending to get this plane up there to do this. Like that is some money to charter a plane to do a banner like that. So, kudos whoever did it, because it's working. It's getting the conversation going. But like I said, I'd love to hear the backstory on it. So, all right, let's talk about the upcoming draft, because again, we're Giants fans. That's all we have to talk about is the draft. That's what we're here for at this point. We're here to talk about the draft.
We're winning at the one seat to the draft.
There's a lot of Shedeur Sanders talk going on this weekend here, guys. A lot of it. So first off, Dion replies to Vegas rumors, and it's actually Vegas/Dallas rumors. But in the end, Vegas has been the major rumor. So NFL Rookie Watch, which is a pretty, I wouldn't say overly popular, but decently popular page on Twitter X, said Shedeur Sanders is reportedly prepared to be drafted by the Las Vegas Raiders or the Dallas Cowboys in the upcoming NFL draft. There's reportedly a high likelihood Sanders would refuse to play if he was drafted by either the Giants or Browns, similar to how Eli Manning refused to play for the Chargers in the 2004, I wish 2024, 2004 NFL draft. Many scouts reportedly believe the Giants will end up settling, they put settling in quotations, for Cam Ward, knowing Sanders wouldn't play for them. The Buffalo's QB has a lot of pull. Now, Deion Sanders took rather much offense to this, and it's his usual way of doing it. He likes to give a condescending remarks back and stuff like that. He's definitely that bless your heart kind of guy. I don't remember where Deion's from, but he's definitely got that bless your heart vibe going on when he kind of scolds people at times, Let's see, where is he from now? I'm curious where he was born. He was born in Fort Myers, actually, so my neck of the woods. I can tell you this. Florida is definitely the fake South and not your bless your heart South. But in 1967, when he was born there, it was a completely different Florida. None of us Yankees had moved down. So,
well, there's definitely Yankees down there. It just wasn't
not then. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Not then. So, it was probably much more real South back then. Anyway, his response was, a lie, don't care who tells it. Please stop trying to become relevant by misrepresenting my son. God bless you. And then did a little hand prayer thing on there. That's what I'm saying by the bless your heart. The God bless you, the hand prayer thing at the end. So there's Deion telling you point blank, this report is bogus. And we keep hearing, and we'll talk a little bit more about it, but we keep hearing about the fact that people think that Sanders won't play for New York, and I think it's a load of bull poop myself, but you keep hearing it, and it keeps being repeated, so eventually people are just running with it. Deion Sanders Jr. also replied on X. Now, keep in mind, he is obviously the brother of Shedeur Sanders, but he's also a teammate because he also plays on Colorado as well. He said, bro is completely lying about everything he just tweeted in that response. It got so bad where X Twitter, whatever the hell you want to call it, literally put this is a lie, a little bracket thing underneath it. And that's bad, that, because they don't do that very often. Twitter has all kinds of weird stuff on there nowadays that is so bogus it's not even funny. When Twitter fact checks you, you're in trouble. Seriously, because Elon's doing the whole free speech thing with it, but it's I see stuff all the time with no bracket that is obviously wrong. Breathing hydrogen is safe for you. That kind of stuff goes on there all the time, and they don't put anything on it. So it's kind of a big thing that they put that on there. So as Rob, I think we're about to lose your camera, by the way, because I don't know what's going on here. But like I said, I think that this is obviously, a public outcry by the Sanders family to say, hey, listen, this is bogus. I don't know who's doing this, saying that he wouldn't play for the Giants, or even in this case, they mentioned the Browns in there, but we're talking about the Giants since it's a Giant show. But they're saying point blank, that's bogus. Why would you say that? So, like I said, Giants fans, if you like Shedeur Sanders, don't give up hope. Don't give up hope. There's nothing to say that this is a done deal for anything either way. So, let's talk about the rumor, though. Because the rumor is Shedeur Sanders is only going to Vegas. That's been the rumor from the get-go. And I don't get it. Do you get it, Rob? Am I crazy? Do you understand why this, what the hell? What's the positive about Las Vegas Raiders?
He likes the weather. I don't know. It's ridiculous to me because, at the end of it, yes, the Raiders have a long history as well as the Giants, but the Giants do have a lot of weapons, and they did not go on a fire sale with their team like the Raiders have done, and they kind of get everyone away. The only talent they have there that's going to make a difference is Max Crosby, and let's be real, that's not going to help Sanders out.
Not to mention Crosby might want to trade at this point. He's been vocal in the past about, if this doesn't happen, I'll ask for a trade.
Yeah, so it's you can go to the system where you got a better offensive line. You're going to have a really good rookie at that point, a sophomore wide receiver with Wandell, who's been one of the best third down receivers in the league, which is crazy to say because he's been on with a bad team, and there I go crazy again.
I say we're about to lose you, man.
And then like you still have Slayton there. You know, you got a quote unquote coach that's an offensive guru. Like, why wouldn't you want to go to the Giants? Plus your defense, like you keep that defense off the field, they're gonna play a lot better. So but you could be a hero of New York.
It's beyond even like would he play for New York? To me, it's like a why would he sit there and say I'm going to play for Vegas and that's it? Because that's been the vibe people have. Like he's going to Vegas, he wants to go play for Vegas. Why?
The only thing you think of is like you go there and you take a losing organization and make them winners. You bring back that
losing organization. Browns aren't a losing organization.
I hear you, but at least the Raiders have more of recognition of a fan base too. Stroke his ego a little bit.
I feel like you look at what is going on in Vegas. You have an ownership group that is horrendous. Let's be very frank on that. Like, you know, the what is going on with your camera, dude? give someone like visual Tourette's over here. Like, what's going on here?
Seizure's happening.
Put your other camera on.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have, you know, a situation where you literally have a quarterback that supposedly only wants to play for a team that has a bad ownership group. Because I know they got, you know, Tom Brady now, obviously. Tom Brady being added to ownership group there. But, you know, Al Davis towards the end of his time was definitely, you know, not a guy that was taken serious. Now, was he good in the 70s and all that? Yes, 100%. But, you know, he wasn't very good towards the end of his career, end of his life there. Mark Davis has been an absolute embarrassment of an owner. You know, he's been a guy who hasn't done anything good for this franchise besides moving them to Vegas, which, let's be honest, lined his pocket more than anything else. You know, you look at what this team has. They have Brock Bowers at tight end. They traded away Devontae Adams. They went ahead and, you know, got rid of Josh Jacobs at that point. And I get it. The Giants got rid of, you know, Barkley. You can go ahead and say that part. But the other thing is that the Giants at least got Tyrone Tracy, you know, who's been a very, very good rookie running back. The Raiders literally don't have a single player over 350 rushing yards, guys. They have only one player with more than 185 rushing yards. That's bad. You know, and if you look at what they got on the receiving wise, Brock Bowers, again, beast, absolute goddamn beast. You know, and you can sit there and say he's probably the best receiving player in the NFL because he's having a better year than Neighbors. He's having a better year than, you know, Marvin Harrison Jr., any of those guys. You know, you got him. You got Jacoby Myers, who's a decent receiver. But it's not like they're stacked up at that point. I don't get it. I don't get why people are thinking that he wants to play specifically for the Raiders. And then you think this, guys. I'm going to give you guys something that I think is just massively overlooked. And this may be breaking. Rookies don't get to pick where the hell they play.
No.
Like they get drafted. Shedeur Sanders said he won't play anywhere but Las Vegas, so he's going to play in Las Vegas. That's not how this works.
No, it's why you have a draft.
Yeah. And, you know, you got two people in their career that I can think of off the top of my head that had this scenario happen, potentially where they didn't want to play somewhere. That's Eli Manning, obviously, and obviously that one went the Giants' way very well. And then you also have John Elway, who obviously traded himself, you know, got himself traded from the Baltimore Colts to the Denver Broncos. And obviously that worked very well for him and Broncos fans. But this doesn't happen all the time. And, you know, that's also, you know, something that needs to be looked at as, you know, something that you can't guarantee like he's going to play for the Raiders because he wants to play for the Raiders. You don't get to pick. You don't get to pick. And I do have to correct myself because Casey actually already corrected me. Dion Jr. does not play the team at B. Shiloh. Yep, you're correct on that. I was misremembering. There's a lot of Sanders kids out there.
Enough to make a football team.
Yeah, apparently. But yeah, like I said, I just don't get it. I don't get this whole Sanders only played for Vegas thing. That's BS. I'm sorry. What's he gonna do? Like seriously, is he gonna go sit out for a year because he wants to play for the Raiders? Are you kidding me? Like, what does he like the uniform? What's so positive? I get it. The logo's kind of cool. Like, where can they go play? You don't even know who the
that
coach
black and silver.
Like, I get it. Like, Antonio Pierce and Dion have a good relationship. We also saw the video last weekend where Antonio Pierce was talking before the Super Bowl, by the way. People made it seem like a recent video before the Super Bowl where this was. And Sanders said, you better draft the Sanders boys. And that's just banter talk. And I get they have a good relationship, but Antonio Pierce might not even be there next year.
Yeah, I mean,
you can't sit there and say this is a very good, first year of him as a coach. If he comes back next year, point blank, it's because they feel bad. They gave him a crap roster.
Which he also
hasn't
got a lot more wins last year out of.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I don't know. I don't get it. I really don't get the whole Vegas thing there, but that's what people are making it seem like there. Let's talk about the last thing here of Shedeur Sanders, and it's a game of catch that's been getting a lot of talk here. Sanders and neighbors playing catch, just like childhood days. So the two of them were filmed playing catch in the streets of New York City as Shedeur Sanders was in town for the Heisman Trophy presentation this weekend. Obviously, Sanders' teammate Travis Hunter won that, for those who hadn't heard. But I just think this validates what I'm saying about the whole Sanders would play in New York in a heartbeat if he got drafted here. And I get it. There's some trepidation, but these two, don't tell me these two didn't know what the hell media attention that would have gotten.
Yeah, they knew damn well what they were doing.
Yeah, like you're literally playing catch with each other in the middle of a street in the busiest, most populated city in the entire country.
Yeah.
You had literally went up in YouTube within an hour. Like, don't give me that BS that you didn't know this was going to happen. They knew. And this is to me was this kind of a subtle message, and they've talked about it, how neighbors kind of downplayed him and Sanders in the past, but considering the fact that happened, and why was neighbors even there? Like, why would Sanders and neighbors be hanging out in New York? They didn't know each other very well.
Yeah.
And then you throw in the fact that neighbors had attended Dion's camp when he was younger as well. So at least, even if it's in passing, there's at least some sort of relationship there. And I find it hard to believe that this was not a message of, hey, this could be fun.
100%. Look what we're doing now in the streets. We can make this on the field.
Yeah. It'd be kind of a nice combo, because one thing Sanders does do very well is he really hits receivers in stride and anticipates where they're going to be. And that's been that neighbors has been missing so much this year, along with deep ball,
a lot of other things,
as well. But like, he is very good at catching the ball in stride and running with it. He's shown that at LSU, and he's shown that occasionally in the NFL when he gets actually the ball thrown properly to him. I feel like that would be a good combo. And like I said, I think that neighbors, him going out there publicly and doing this kind of stuff with Sanders, says that he probably does too. Yeah. So let's talk about an unhappy New York Giant here, guys. We have an unhappy one. Surprising with our great season. Devin Singletary is unhappy, apparently. So he was talking to reporters with the New York Post recently and said, I'm surprised. That's just where we are right now. It's really tough. I don't know any backs getting 2 or 3 carries going crazy. A 2-back system can definitely work. I don't call the plays. I don't make that decision. This is the first year I feel this great in December. That's just what's been going on this year. Not used to it. I don't plan on getting used to it, but that's just where we're at right now. Now, I can give you a couple takeaways from this. But yeah, this is This is an issue in a couple ways, guys. One, you publicly spoke out against your coach. That's what you just did. It's another sign that Dable is losing the locker room. I don't call the plays. I don't make that decision. That's what he said. Who calls the plays?
Brian Dable. But I also took that away as like him losing the starting role. Like he's called for.
What he's talking about.
Yeah, he's calling for like a two-headed monster instead of Tracy being the guy getting all the carries.
Yeah.
So
I just and like I said, I get that part of it, and that's what he's talking about, the fact that he lost. Oh my God, your camera again? What's going on?
I have no idea. My face is stuck for a little bit.
But yeah, he's I'm gonna try to remove you and put you back in and see what happens. You just okay. Well, you're there, but you're not there. But
I'm a figment of your imagination.
Just put up your logo thing. There you go.
Yeah. I'm a real boy.
But yeah, what were we saying? Yeah, but yeah, it's like he was talking about wanting a 2-back system, but at the same point, he could say it that way all he wants. But when you say that, I don't call the plays, I don't make that decision. That's him point blank calling out the guy who does call the plays for not giving enough carries. The guy who does make that decision for not giving enough carries. And that guy is Brian Dable. And that's the problem I have with that whole scenario is you literally just went ahead and publicly called out the guy who is supposed to be the head of the team and the boss of the team, so to speak, that keeps this thing together. And obviously he's not if you feel comfortable speaking out publicly like that.
Yeah, I mean, I also looked at it as a little bit calling him out, but it's also like, hey, like I want to play, but I'm not the one making the decision.
That you just say no comment. If that's what you're going to say, then say no comment.
Yeah.
Because that's the other part of this is what he should do is this off season is when he should say something. That's what he should say. Listen, guys, this isn't working out. We got to figure out a way to end this. Whether it be you cut me and I take a pay cut so it's doable, it doesn't hurt you, or you guys trade me, whatever the case may be, this is not working. And that's not difficult to have that conversation. It happens all the time in off seasons here. But I'll say this, Singletary, if you want some more carries, guess what? Your boy Tyrone Tracy Jr. is getting almost another yard per carry additional to you.
Yeah.
That's the problem. That's why you're not getting in the field. Couple that up with the fact that you've had, the same amount of fumbles in, 60% of the carries. He's had a couple fumbles earlier on, that's where it's at, and I get it. Like, it's frustrating for a guy who's succeeded elsewhere. The success just isn't there right now for him. And because of that, he's not getting the carries. And that's the way it should be. Because this should be about developing Tyrone Tracy Jr. for when this team is good. Because he is part of the future. Singletary is not. So,
who's supposed to be a bridge.
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be at least a 2-year bridge, but at this point, it's going to be a 1-year bridge. Again, he's 27 years old, so he'll be 28 next year. That's time where you go, maybe he's getting towards the end.
Yep.
And I don't mean that as far as he's done. I mean that as maybe he wants to go somewhere where he can use the rest of his years that he is still good and actually get carries and actually do things in this league.
I hear it's only going to be 2 years.
He's washed. I don't think he's washed, but I think he's got to go to get that done. Now, if you cut him, you only save $250,000 next year. Giants aren't going to cut him. It doesn't make sense to cut him to save $250,000. Now, if we cut him post June 1st, we save $1.5 million. You do that technically. What I would say is what you got to do is try to trade him because then you save almost $4 million. And when I say trade him, you don't tell me a team won't give you like a 6th-round pick for him or something like that just to get rid of him. And I mean negative, like nothing just to get rid of him. I mean, let's be honest, it's a running back. Running backs don't have a lot of value. That's where I'm at.
Especially after this year when he's not the starting guy. So.
But somebody will still take him just because he's a proven veteran running back. So let him go somewhere else. Let him try to make it there. And then we get a little cap relief as well. Let's be honest, we had to sign a lot of players this offseason. We could use the cap relief. And then we just draft somebody else at that point this offseason. I mean, this year to go ahead and replace Singletary. That's what he should do. Keep drafting guys.
Yep. Draft.
Sign guys off. Sign undrafted guys. Because in the end, the system is just as important as the running back. You can have success with cheap running backs. This is a decision we made to do, and yet we still paid him, which makes absolutely no sense whatsoever to me. Like, you're literally going to have a cap number of $6 million and change next year and the year after, but you didn't want to pay Saquon. Doesn't
it's also half the amount of what you would have paid Saquon.
I get it, but looking around, is that looking a good idea right now? Considering what he's given you, considering what Saquon's doing, and again, I know Saquon wouldn't do that with the Giants. Don't get me wrong, but you're telling me that he's worth $6 million next year?
Yeah,
it's not.
No,
he's not. In hindsight is 2020. I'm not blaming Shane on that move. I'm really not. I just think that if he's unhappy, he's not part of the future, then move on. Let him go. And I'm sure somebody will take him for something.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like you said, you might be able to squeeze out like a 5th round pick to go to somewhere else, the team that needs. But like you said, you settle for a 6th round pick to clear $4 million in your cap. You get 100% all day long.
And you got to also remember in this whole thing too, like right now we're going to have the 1st overall pick. We may end up with the 2nd overall pick the way things are going there. But let's say we surprise ourselves even and win a game somehow. You might need some picks to trade to go ahead and move up. And if that's the case, don't get me wrong, the 6th round pick or something like that, our 5th round pick you get for Singletary would not get you over the edge. But
no, but you use it
to have.
Yeah, but you use it as trade values.
Trade value. Well, even that, just to have another body that you can draft at that point, so you don't have to keep on signing free agents at that point. I mean, that's something what happens. I mean, you have to go ahead and get a lot of people. You want to need depth pieces. You need back end pieces. You don't need just top loaded. So you just look at it that way. Is you're going to get a player maybe with that could be part of your bench or be a special teamer or, something along those lines there, But what the interesting thing is? Who our 5th round pick was last year, right?
Tracy.
Exactly. Who our 6th round pick was? Our team leader in interceptions, Darius Muasau. Granted, he's got 1, but still.
Yeah.
He's been providing at least something. He's been a backup linebacker / special teams guy. And listen, there's still a value in that. So like I said, take your pick, move on, draft another guy later on, and call it a day. Hell, you might have used that draft pick to get him.
Maybe.
You may. You never know. So, all righty. Let's pay the bills real quick, guys, and then we got one more thing to talk about, and then we're going to get into your comments, guys. So feel free to load up the comments here and let us know your thoughts on the game today. Let us know your thoughts on everything we're talking about with Sanders and Singletary and all, and somebody else you might talk about in a minute as well. So,
enjoying the show? Looking for more goofball action? Consider a membership at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Memberships start at just $5 and give you additional goofball access. One-time support payments also available starting at just $3. buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs.
All righty, guys. And of course, if you want to support the show, you can also go ahead and send I don't know, can I say a donation? We're not a charity, but we can send us money, I guess, through super chats on YouTube or stars on Facebook there. To help here. It's like we're gonna get Sally Struthers here for just $5 a month. You two, Rob and Drew,
2 goofballs,
drink beer.
Yeah.
But of course, also the freeway is always something we appreciate as well, guys. Go ahead and hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that follow, hit that share. Tell a friend about the show, guys. We suck at marketing. We really do count on you guys to go ahead and share this out. And we've seen a huge uptick. We've had over 100 new subscribers this month alone on YouTube and all. So we definitely appreciate all that are new to the channel there as well, and appreciate you coming on and listening and watching and commenting and being part of the show there. All right, last bit we have here before we get into any comments that are left here. We got to talk one more time, at least. This is probably the last time we talk.
One more time.
We got to celebrate. Bill Belichick, we talked about how he snubbed the Giants, but apparently he didn't just snub the Giants. He reached out to the Jets. Have we got to that point, Rob? Are we lower than the Jets?
Oof.
Oh, my God. That's
That's
bad.
low.
That's really bad if we've gotten lower. Oh, my God. You just take your camera off to burp? Like, is that what you just did? Like, oh, I'm about to burp. Let me put my camera off for a moment here.
Whoops.
I think you had the wrong button. I think you made
100%.
button. Oh my gosh. Anyway.
Hey, you didn't see me do it.
So that's the reports though. It's before Bill Belichick took the UNC job, that he apparently reached out to the Jets to see if they'd be interested in him as a head coach there. And like I said, absolutely insane. We are now officially worse than the Jets at least in some regards there. And real quick, guys, we also had to give up and say thank you to Anthony Clemente here with a $9.99 super chat there. Appreciate you very much for supporting the show as always. You're always a very consistent supporter, and like I said, it's not unnoticed and definitely appreciated as well.
Yeah, much appreciated.
A lot of y'all in the chat that support the show on a regular basis as well. So we always say it. This show we built like a little community. It's not just we should change the name from Two Giant Goofballs, just Giant Goofballs. We almost should. If it wasn't all the rebranding and marketing we have to do with that.
Yeah. We need a lot more super chats for that.
We'll have a lot more work. But again, appreciate it. But yeah, I guess the theory was that Bill Belichick was thinking that obviously his age, maybe instead of being a part of a complete rebuild, and we've talked about this in the show, the perfect job for Bill Belichick would have been a job where he could have walked in to a team that's loaded up, ready to go, that's just been underperforming. And I can see where he would see that with the Jets, though. Aaron Rodgers has been one of the best quarterbacks this generation. The problem is it's not really this generation; it's last generation. He was one of the
when you're pushing his age, it's not quite feasible to keep going the way he's going.
You got a defense that's got a lot of respect from the league. You got young, good running backs on this team.
Say Bryce Hall's.
Yeah, like you got a young good receiver along with an old good receiver. I mean, you got you got weapons, you got everything on here on paper except an offensive line, but that's it's most of the NFL. And I can see where Bill would see that as an attractive piece though. But I could also is it just me, or could you see like Aaron Rodgers getting pissed off and shoving a jar of Metamucil down Bill Belichick's throat when he gets mad at him? Like seriously, like those two
you need more fiber and mushrooms. Yeah.
It's like that situation where you put two like really, really cocky and really like demanding of followers, if that makes sense, for lack of a better term. And you put them two in the same room. Because Bill Belichick is not the what do you think of this kind of guy? Bill Belichick is the point blank, like, this is what I'm telling you to do, you do it. And Aaron Rodgers is used to the same thing as well.
Yeah, so he's the one that's making the calls at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. So I can see the two of them really fighting. I can't see that being a good combo there. So but again, I'm a little shocked that he didn't see. And again, I'm not even disappointed. We've said from the get-go, we didn't want Bill Belichick as our head coach. We want Vrabel. We want him as a football czar to overlook the organization. But it's like when like you lose out on something you really didn't want because the other part of the scenario just didn't want you. Like you ever had like a job turn you down and you're like, I don't really want that job, but I'm kind of pissed off they didn't want me. Like that. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like that, or like you hear like somebody is not attracted to you that you didn't have any interest in either, but you're just offended that they're not attracted to you. Like that kind of scenario. It's kind of like for me in this scenario,
Listen, I don't want to go take you out on a date, but now because you said you don't want to talk to me, I'm going to eat my Ben and Jenny's.
But I'm saying like that's the scenario. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want Bill Belichick as the coach, but I'm a little disappointed he wanted us as a team. Again, I don't think this is a bad scenario. I really don't, guys. Like I know I'm probably being a little bit of a homer when I say it this way, but again, you got a defense that's before all the injuries wasn't bad. Wasn't great, but wasn't bad. With the worst offense in the league, still wasn't bad. You have a great young receiver. You have a great, young running back at that point there. You have a line that was playing better leading up to it. You have a reception machine in Wandale. You had a tight end that was starting to play better before he got hurt in Theo Johnson. You got Daniel Bellinger, who I'm sorry, if you watch the way he's played the last 2 weeks, it just proves that there's something personal going on with Bellinger because he has played well the last couple weeks since Theo Johnson's been hurt. Again, not great. I'm never going to say that Bellinger is going to be like this starting all-pro tight end. He's not. But he's a decent depth piece, worst case scenario, and he hasn't been used as that the last 2 years.
No, and he's a good, he's not great, like you said. He's a good blocker, and he's a good receiver. Yep. So he's versatile. It's not just like a guy you're putting out there because you know he could receive. He's not a guy you're putting out there because you know he could block. Yeah. You can do both, which disguises plays, which allows you to do play action plays. It allows you to do, whatever. But it confuses the defense a little bit more than seeing, that tight end, he's going to go run down the field.
Yeah. But like I said, to me, the cupboard's not bare, guys. You need to throw in the fact that you get the first overall pick in the draft potentially. This should be a spot that people would want to go to. I'm sorry. It really is. This should not be a spot people are like, I don't know if I want to go to the Giants. You'd be expected to lose in the beginning. Point blank. You'd be expected to lose in the beginning. You'd be expected just to develop a quarterback. That's your main thing. So, to me, like I said, not a bad spot at all. All right, let's get to the last of the comments here before we head on out for the evening here. So, let's see here. We have Dorothy says, if you are worried about any team being worse than us, I don't think you watched today's game. Listen, I'm going to worry that we're going to mess it up until we don't mess it up because that's just the nature of a Giants fan.
And also, Dorothy, have you watched the Jaguars play?
Listen, they almost beat the Jets.
Almost.
They did. They almost beat the Jets. In fact, it was so close that I'm going to make sure nothing major happened.
32-25 said the final score.
Yep.
Look at it right now.
So, yeah, like I said, it's just, they're not that good, but they're better than us, I think. I really do. But, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just, like I said, it's the Giants' way to mess it up. It really is. Spaz Out says, I don't know how Dable and Joe Shane survive. Yeah. And you're hearing a lot more reports about that, too.
Yeah, we've been saying that for half the season.
Yeah, we'll talk about that tomorrow. I wanted to leave at least some news for tomorrow here, but that's going to come up, I'm sure, tomorrow because there's people like even Jordan Ronan's been saying it. There was another prominent Giants beat reporter. I can't remember off the top of my head who it was, but there's another one I saw saying it as well on social media. So more and more the rumors are rumbling because when you start breaking records for most losses in a row, hard to keep your job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are so great that you're breaking all these records. Say, you have the most losses in Giants history.
That's not good.
That's definitely not a record you want to break.
Definitely not. Anthony says, I saw we just started putting signs on the street that Merritt lives on. I didn't see that. That's pretty awesome. I'll look it up. Maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow. I just did a quick notes and things I saw over the weekend here. I didn't see that one yet, but yeah, I'll probably pop up when I do my research for a show tomorrow, and we'll probably talk about that because that's interesting. That's taking it another level. That's stepping it up a notch. And I have mixed feelings on it because it's partially like you're invading his home, and that's not cool. But you're also you're strongly sending the message. I'm kind of mixed. Dorothy says Las Vegas is a short drive to LA. The Giants play in an oversized dentist office in New Jersey. Also, I'd rather play for Pierce than Dable any day. Well, one, Vegas is a short drive to LA. I guess I don't see the positive in that compared to short drive to New York. Giants play in an oversized dentist office. That's an insult to dentist office, so I'll give you that one. Also, I'd rather play for Pierce than Dable any day. I don't think either coach is going to be there next year.
Yeah, I mean,
that's my thing. If I was Dion and I was publicly calling out for teams for my son to go to play, because he understands he's not stupid. Where his son gets drafted very much could affect his success rate. He's not stupid with
Yeah.
it. If I was him, I'd want to know who the coaches are first. I'd be saying 100% quiet until I know who the coaches are. And I'd even be speaking to the teams and saying, listen, you're interested in drafting my son. If you really want him to play there and you want him to be happy about playing there, maybe you should talk to us before you hire a coach. Now, that's the way they can leverage. And I would have no issue with that whatsoever. But that's the way they can leverage it. Because the interesting thing is, the Giants, listen, I'm not saying he won't play for the Giants. Like we've said this a couple times in the show. But there's going to be some overcoming that's going to happen in this whole thing. Because, like, you know who his offensive coordinator is in Colorado, right? Our old buddy, Pat Shurmur. You think Pat Shurmur likes the Giants after what happened to him? We already talked about Deion's issues in New York when he played for the Yankees. Like, it's not a foregone conclusion that Deion would want his son to play for the Giants. I'm just saying that he can't choose. He's a rookie going into the draft. That's what happens. You don't decide.
Especially when he's coming out as like one of the top prospects.
Exactly. When you're a top prospect, guess what? You go to a shitty team. That's what happens.
Yeah.
In fact, you got to wonder if maybe that's why the success rate is so high on late first round picks for quarterbacks and not so high on early. Maybe there's something to be said for that. Just saying.
Yeah.
Dorothy says Rob's camera is what the Giants quarterbacks see when they look past their first read. No, if you want to know what the quarterbacks, see when they look past their first read, do me a favor, close your eyes real quick, like this. That's exactly what they see. That's what they see right there. They're as blind as a bat to anything past the first read. Anthony says, I want to play devil's advocate. I've been preaching QB in the draft, but for the sake of conversation, what if they take Travis Hunter with the first round pick and get Darnold in the offseason?
I think Darnold's going to get paid in Minnesota. If we're going to be real here, I think
I think they're going to tag him personally.
Yeah. Either way, he's going to be there next year. Like,
I think they're going to tag him, but I also, and again, if it was a different quarterback, maybe I'd have different feelings on this. But I don't know. I just don't believe that Darnold's real. Maybe it's I've seen him not be good for enough years. I just don't believe it. And I'm really wondering if it's the system he's in and the talent around him.
Yeah, I mean, let's look at Minnesota the past couple of years when they went through an array of quarterbacks. They made some bad quarterbacks look good.
Especially.
Yeah, they made some bad quarterbacks look good.
Well, but again, like you said, you got Justin Jefferson. You got potentially the best receiver in all of football. You got, Jordan Addison, who's a great receiver as well. You got T.J. Hawkinson, one of the better receiving tight ends in the league. You go ahead and got Aaron Jones, who's having a pretty good year as well at running back. You go ahead and add the fact that the offensive line is not a bad offensive line. Like, you're really going ahead on, a team that is loaded, just needed a quarterback basically at this point. And again, Kirk Cousins looked very good there as well. Look what's happening to him, But, Aaron Jones is going to have a 1,000-yard receiver season again. So obviously, Justin Jefferson's already at 1,100 yards. Don't even hear much about him really, which is kind of scary. 1,100 yards in 13 games, like that's pretty damn good. Four more games to go on the stat sheet here. So at this rate here, he's averaging 90 yards a game. So, 4 times 3 is 370. That would put him at 540 yards. So 1,540 yards for the season. Pretty damn good season.
Yeah.
Jordan Addison is on pace to get just about 1,000 yards as well. Again, stacked team around him. Giants would definitely not have that.
Yeah, that's about how much passing yards the Giants have total with the two receivers.
Exactly. Deb says, as reported during today's game, neighbors spoke highly in support of Dable. I think that's just him trying to say the right thing. And Neighbors is a very, very emotional person. I feel like he says things without thinking sometimes, but he also listens to people that tell them point blank that, maybe you shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
So, Deb says, I think Singletary was overpaid. He was. He was. Dorothy says, why Lehman unable to go? Other running backs could have had in free agency instead of Singletary. 3 years, 16 million. Eckler, 2 years, 11.4 million. Zach Moss, 2 years, 8 million. Aaron Jones, 1 year, 7 million. Antonio Gibson, 3 years, 11.75. All less years and or less money. Yeah, it wasn't a good deal, and you see this kind of stuff all the time, almost like it is like a appreciation deal. What I mean, like we appreciate what you did for us in the past when we were in Buffalo together. That's what it kind of felt like. And granted, he had a good year last year with the Texans, but Sutton definitely seemed to be overpaid for him a little bit there. And I wonder if part is because of the fact that, let's be honest, it was also backloaded. So that's usually not good for a running back.
No.
So, yeah. Let's see here. So, and then Dwayne says, Cam Ward, we are on our way. We'll see. It might be Cam, might be Shedeur. I'm pretty sure it's safe to say one of the two is definitely going there whatsoever. Dorothy says, no appreciation for Nick McLeod.
McLeod.
Big McLeod fans. So,
yeah.
I guess I'm still a little surprised they let him go over a little bit of money. Like, what are you going to save by cutting Nick McLeod? You don't really save much at all. But he also hasn't been doing too much with the Niners, but he is on their roster after just 3 weeks of him sitting around kind of learning the playbook there. So he is playing. He is getting playing time there. All righty, guys. That's going to call it a night for us here. Again, we appreciate you guys for watching. Sorry you guys had to go through this today. I feel like we need to apologize on behalf of the Giants, even though we don't work for the Giants. But we're just kind of there. We're just kind of there. But yeah, next week we'll be back, of course, again live tomorrow, talking about the latest Giants news and wrapping up all the games from today across the NFL. Wednesday, we'll be back, of course, with all the latest Giants news and also a little bit of preview of the Falcons game. Again, we're at the point now we're not doing too much preview and post game as much anymore because there's just not that much to talk about. We suck. We're going to suck. That's what we are.
Yeah. And then imagine if our journalists saw a hat on our heads because tank. And
then Thursday, we do our picks show where you guys are going to get a full dose of Roberto here, as Rob will have a solo show as I will be driving to Atlanta to prepare for the game this upcoming weekend here. So I can go out and see all that are going to the game as well. Again, if anybody's there, sees a really tall guy in a 2 Giant Goofballs hat, feel free to say hi. Always like listening and talking to people that watch the show and are fans of the show there. So again, we'll be back again tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, we are live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and of course, Rob's favorite, my LinkedIn profile. And of course, as always, we are available on all the audio podcast platforms as well. That's Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon, all the big ones there. Again, if you haven't already, please hit that like, please hit that subscribe. Like I said, big thing for us there. We're on a quest for 1,000 subscribers for YouTube there. We're getting inching closer and closer and closer and closer and closer and closer. So appreciate you guys for listening as always. And as always, Giant fans,
thanks for listening to 2 Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.